Listening to Community Matters here on Cross Rhythms, and it's a pleasure to welcome into the studio today Jaroslava Hurtikova. Jaroslava, why don't you tell us where you're from?
So I work for Citizens Advice in Plymouth as a research and campaigns manager. So this means that I look after the twin aim, which is campaign on big social policy issues. So my team analyzes data, why people are coming to us, what it's causing their problems, and then we run different campaigns based on what it is. It can be local or national. We talk to Plymouth City Council, MPs and other decision makers about people's problems and how we can overcome these issues and improve policies and practices that are impacting our clients and other people in the city and across the country.
So your feedback and your research going back into those decision makers really helps to shape policy and shape the way they're responding to things?
Yeah, you can say it that way as well. And we work also alongside the national team on certain research projects. So we can impact big decisions, for example, of the DWP when it comes to universal credit and other benefits. So we try to improve these benefits and practices for people who are claiming benefits.
And you're based in Plymouth. Are you based at Ernest English House or are you based at on Mayflower Street?
We are based in Coburg House on Mayflower Street, but we also work in a partnership with Improving Lives Plymouth, who provide the Advice Plymouth drop-in in Ernest English House.
Okay, so that's a good bit of background. Thanks for that, Jaroslava. And for anybody that's listening or anybody that's actually watching online, well, we just had about 55,000 takes while I try and get the cameras to work. So that's why we're coming back into this maybe a little bit more slowly than normal. But Jaroslava, let's cut to the chase a little bit, if we may. Since 2020, things have been tough and seemingly getting tougher for a lot of people. What's it been like, because you must be on the front line at Citizens Advice, what's your perspective been on how people have been presenting to you, what the kind of issues they've been presenting? Is it becoming more complex, more desperate?
I think the past couple of years have been very challenging for people in the UK and also possibly around the world as well. And the issues are not as simple as they used to be. People's issues have become quite complex. So what we often see is that someone may come with just one problem and we are able to unpick 10 others. So we look at people as a whole. And therefore, for example, last year we helped nearly 41,000 people from different parts of the country to address 391,000 issues. So on average, one person may have about 9 issues.
Wow. So, okay, that is complex. 9 issues instead of presenting with one, that is. Is there such a thing as the most common thing that people are coming to you about?
Over the past couple of years, this has quite changed, and it, I think, reflects the situation in the country and what's happening with the economy. So at the beginning of the pandemic, it was more about employment issues, claiming benefits. Then it moved to problems with energy providers when they ceased trading and people were having like huge energy bills. Then there was energy price hike and people were worried about how they're going to manage the winter. And now it's the general cost of living and issues with housing because we are in the midst of housing crisis at the moment.
Do you get a sense that, because there were those big peaks of like the energy price hike and other things that have hit, employment was an issue for a while, and obviously the pandemic. Are people steadying? Are they getting used to it? Do you think people are reeling after knock? What would your take on it be?
That's a really interesting question. I think what we see that every time there's a new crisis or something is happening, it can impact different group of people. So particularly with the cost of living, we see that in Plymouth we have more single people and single parents impacted by the crisis. And also we see more people who come from the working class, so they keep working, they are in work and they don't have enough money to make their ends meet.
So it's becoming an issue where the working poor. I've heard that phrase bandied about before, but there's where people that are actually in work, in employment, but it's really becoming an issue for them as much as it is for anybody that isn't in work in many cases.
It is, and particularly when they live in private housing, they rent their home. It just became so expensive, and even if you claim housing benefit, it will not cover the full price of your rent. So we see many people when they have negative budgets because of this, and therefore they have a shortfall in their budgets for about £150 because they don't have enough money to cover the housing cost. And we are very concerned about that.
And that's a problem if it's one family, but that must be multiplied across hundreds of families in the city at the moment.
It is, and I don't think there's enough social housing to cover the current needs. And therefore, we would like to kind of campaign and propose the government to build more social housing that is suitable for those people who don't have enough money to just have good living conditions at the moment.
Jaroslava, we'll take a break for some music and let's come back and unpack a little bit more on that in just a minute. We'll be back to hear more from Jaroslava right after this. Jaroslava, that was great background you gave us about how the picture is worsening, really, and the people that are coming to you are coming with more complex problems and deeper issues, and there's a greater number of people in different circumstances. In response to that, from what you said to me off air, it sounds like Citizens Advice in Plymouth is making itself more accessible to people. Do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, we recognize that, people issues are kind of complex and they might not have enough money, for example, to travel to the city centre. So we kind of try to improve our offer and expand it to different areas of the city. So we started with opening our walking centre in Coburg House. So it's information and signposting, no appointment needed centre where people can come Monday until Friday, 9 a.m. till 4:30 p.m. and they will get information and signposting on the day. And
that's Coburg House is where the Anglian Windows place used to be on Mayflower Street?
Yeah, it's opposite Money Centre or University Base, where's the main library.
Or if you're really old in Plymouth, you'll remember it was the old job centre back in the 80s. But anyway, that's giving my age away.
Yeah, so we are fairly new. We are on the ground floor, so it's accessible. So if someone has any needs, they can access it quite straightforward. And we also work with Plymouth City Council's community builders. And we offer outreach in 5 different areas across the city. So at the moment, we are based in Elm Community Centre, Southway, Honig Knoll, Morristown and East End.
Okay, so that's really covering all the points of the compass so people can come to you. And I guess the addresses and times and dates of those drop-in centres are on your website?
They will be published on our website. We are currently changing the website and we will have a calendar with events and outreach dates. Okay,
so 5 neighbourhoods outreaches with community builders.
Yeah.
You've got the walk-in on Coburg Street in the old Anglian, not Coburg Street, Mayflower Street in the old Anglian Windows building, Coburg House, that's where that came from, and Ernest English House down on Bretton Side. You're still down there, yeah?
Yeah, so Improving Lives Plymouth and Advice Plymouth are based in Ernest English House. And people will still get similar type of service, and it's no appointment needed drop-in centre.
So what range of services are you offering at the moment? Because the thing that everybody's going to be thinking about with the cost of living crisis is money, but it goes a lot wider than that, doesn't it?
Yeah, at the moment our offer is fairly wide. So if I split it into maybe 9 different areas, people can get help with benefits. It can be applications for universal credit, help with managed migration of universal credit, because we know that people may get letters about the managed migration in early January next year. Then it can be applications for disability benefits, and other support. Then it goes to debt problems. So if someone needs any help with budgeting, money, financial capability issues, that's what we can help with. It comes to consumer problems. It can be anything from making purchases online, not receiving your post or packages, up to complaining about airlines not giving you refunds for delayed flights or cancellations, and also now we have train strikes, so that's something what we can help with. We have quite limited offer on immigration, but we still can provide level 1 information on immigration issues. We have Law Advice Centre. So we work with University House Law in London, where we can provide free 45 minutes consultations on employment, housing, relationship issues, and also benefit tribunals and appeals if they can be remote. Each area may have different conditions, and I would encourage people to go to our website and complete the referral form, and then they will get a call back from our admin staff, and then we will be able to tell whether they're eligible for the service. We also help with housing, so it's quite a big area at the moment where many people come to us with issues around Section 21 or disrepair in their properties.
Can you unpack what is Section 21?
So Section 21 is eviction from the house, so it's no fault eviction, so the landlord does not have to tell you why they're giving you the eviction, but the reason could be they try to sell the property or they want to move in, and it means that you may not have done anything wrong, they just want to repossess the property. And we've seen many people this year that have been impacted by this issue, and they can't find suitable housing, so they are threatened by homelessness. And that's something what we advise on, and we can look whether the section, whether the letter they receive from the landlord is legitimate, whether there are any mistakes in there, and then they can appeal the decision.
So, I mean, with a lot of issues like that, the fact is that most of us don't know what help is available or where we stand in the law. And we also, many of us aren't confident in confronting some of those issues ourselves. So I guess, do your advisors and the people on your helpline, is it an advocacy role that they have the information and the ability to help?
Yeah, so we usually provide the advice in about 3 different levels, and it depends on your personal circumstances and what you tell us. So it usually starts with the assessment, where our assessors will triage you about your issue, and based on what you tell us, they can advise on further steps. So if you are capable enough and you can just take away the information and you can act on your on that advice, then we will just give you the information and let you go. You can return to the service if you need any further help. And if we identify that the issue is more serious and it needs more exploring, then we can refer you for further help. Or if we identify that you may not be able to act on the issue, then we still can refer you to the service or signpost to the other organisation.
An awful lot going on with your service. We'll take a break for some music, Jaroslava. We'll come back and hear some more in just a moment. Jaroslava, from what you've been saying so far, the problem, and I guess we all know that with our eyes open, we're all experiencing it, problems are getting bigger and more complex. Citizens Advice response to that is to open up more access points and get into neighbourhoods, which is great. How do you see, just if you could look into the future, how do you see the work of Citizens Advice or the kind of problems you're encountering? How do you see that developing over the next 12, 24 months? Have you got any thoughts on that?
Oh, that's a really interesting question.
On the spot, I know.
I think it's really difficult to guess where we will go, because we need to kind of react to what is happening with the economy. People needs keep changing, so we need to keep adapting our service. So we always try to look for new funding and improve the services, listen to what people have to say and how we should improve the service as well. So we're starting with bringing new website, which should be more accessible, and with simple layout. We started developing more easy read booklets that could be downloaded from our website, shared amongst professionals, and it just simplifies complex topics such as debt, housing, Section 21, as we mentioned, or talking about loan sharks, because we know that Plymouth is also becoming quite diverse. People have many barriers of accessing different services, and also going to websites and reading loads of text can be quite complicating, intimidating, and therefore we just breaking those topics into very simple language with loads of pictures, so it can cater for different type of audience.
You mentioned loan sharks in the middle of that. Is that problem increasing with pressure coming on finances?
I don't think we do have a data to prove that. People are quite reluctant to talk about their debts to loan sharks, but we know that more people have debts towards their family and friends, and they always talk, I do have a loan with my friend, and then you question them about loan sharks. They will never say they are borrowing money from loan shark. And, it could be a problem because we know people don't have money to address their needs at the moment, and they try to find different streams of getting more income coming towards their household. But we have not seen many people talking about loan sharks.
Yeah. In the old days, before internet scams became the way that people targeted you, there were door-to-door scams. A lot of those would go on. Are those kind of things increasing, or even are the internet scams increasing?
Internet scams are definitely on rise. And they're always so innovative, and you feel like, I will never be conned by something like that. And we see people coming from different backgrounds, and it's also people with high education being scammed and losing loads of money. Last year we helped a lady who was kind of hoping she's gonna gain a little bit of money from the financial investment, but it ended up quite badly. So the lady invested at the beginning £500. She was not from the UK, so the scammer started sending her emails in the mother language. So I thought it was quite cruel because, it just builds the trust and rapport with the person. And somehow, through different apps, they managed to get access to her accounts, and they took loans in her name. And I think the worst is they took loans because she did not send them money. It was not her money. And now she's liable for paying the debt.
Wow.
And the total amount of debt last year was around £40,000.
That's a big debt to have when it's got nothing to do with you. And as you said, educated people who we all think we know better. So there's no, because that speaks to the shame where you feel like, I couldn't possibly admit to it being scammed. There's no shame in being scammed, is there?
No, I don't think, even seeking for help should not be a shame. We see many people who feel ashamed just by making a simple mistake, losing a certain amount of money, or just genuinely going and seeking help. And I think the help is needed more than ever before, and we are here to be that helping hand and just helping you with a simple problem, because we are here for you no matter what's the problem. It can be small, it can be big. We are still here to kind of put you on the right track and help you to resolve the problem.